Hi, my name is Carmelita and welcome to my channel. So I started this channel because I wanted to talk about industrial organizational psychology. There's some videos out there, but they're not really from a student's perspective, and they're, very basic, oh, this is what IO psychology is. Well, I feel like if you're a student in IO psychology, you know what it is. And so I kind of just wanted to create a kind of like a community for IO psych students, for us to talk about our journeys. And so I'm talking about my journey. And this is what my vlog is going to be about. It's going to be about my journey through my graduate school. So right now I am in my first year of my PhD. Well, I'm finishing up my first year. So in a couple months I'll be in my second year. And I have a master's degree in IO psychology already, and I am finishing up my first year in my master's degree program for clinical mental health counseling. So I am doing 2 programs at once. It is a lot, but I also work part-time, and that is also a lot, especially since I'm a dialysis technician, and that's a hard job for anybody who's ever been a dialysis technician or who is, it is hard. And I do not do nocturnal. I am acute, or not acute, I am chronic. And so yeah, it's a lot. But basically my vlog is going to just be about my life through all of this and how I managed to do all of this stuff. So first of all, why I chose clinical mental health counseling and IO psychology. So I originally chose IO psychology because I took a class in my bachelor's program about IO psychology, and I realized that I really liked it, and I had a knack for it. I just understood it really well. I was good at the case studies, and understanding organizational behavior, and applying psychological concepts to issues in the organization came really easily for me. So I decided to go that route for graduate school. When I was finishing my master's, I had to write my white paper, and my white paper was about neuroscience and IO psychology. And at the time, I didn't know that there's actually huge growth in neuroscience being used in the business world. So that's pretty awesome. So my white paper was about how there are certain predictors for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, and I was wondering if workplace challenge, meaning how difficult your job is mentally and physically, if that influences your chances of getting Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease later in life, because that some predictors for Alzheimer's are diet and exercise, and that seems to be a predictor for everything. And so I was wondering, well, if people who, they tell you to do crossword puzzles when you're old and to socialize with people who have very vibrant jobs throughout their lives, very vibrant careers, what are their chances of getting Alzheimer's later in life? So I didn't do the study because I needed a lot of resources that I didn't have at the time. So what I did is I collected, it's kind of like a meta-analysis, I guess. I collected a lot of quantitative data, and I made that prediction based off of the data that I had. So anyways, what got me into clinical was that idea of, hey, how does neuroscience influence workplace behaviors? Because, everybody knows that what you take to work with you mentally influences how you work, how you are motivated at work. If you're depressed, you're going to experience a decrease in motivation and a decrease in productivity, and you may even quit. So it was kind of interesting to me that for IO psychology, we mostly focus on organizational behavior, and I kind of want to focus on individual behavior too, because it's twofold and they go together. And I'm noticing a lot in the Wisconsin area, because that's where I live, that a lot of clinical psychologists actually consult as IO psychologists too, which I think is interesting because they don't have the same training and background as a real IO psychologist. So I was like, well, what if an IO psychologist had a clinical training and could understand both sides? And I also wanted to be able to provide therapy and counseling as well. Not part of my IO psychology practice, but it's just a separate practice. And so that's why I went into the clinical side as well. To my surprise, there are a lot of IO practitioners who have a clinical background, who actually have degrees in business psychology and IO psychology. So I've been connecting with them as well. And yeah. So if anybody has any, I don't know where I was going with this. Jeez. That's how my brain works. I start talking, and then I forget what I was talking about, and then I just start talking, not knowing where I'm going, and then I start laughing. But anyway, I have to stop my video because I have to do homework. It's about 2 o'clock, and I have done no homework so far. Like I said, I'm a part-time worker of dialysis, so I work 2 days a week, and those days are usually about 10-hour days, which are long days, especially in dialysis, because it's physically demanding. I'm very exhausted after work, so I try to schedule my work schedule, my homework schedule around my work schedule. And that's one good thing about the medical field, is that most of the time your schedule can be really flexible, and your manager is very understanding, because there's always a shortage in the medical field in whatever the position is, because it's stressful, and people usually are looking for the next step and the next level, and so they transfer or whatever. So your managers are really usually understanding about working around your school schedule, and they want you to succeed. So I can show you real quick what my schedule for this week has been like. This is my planner, and I kind of just write my homework stuff in my planner, as well as my internship stuff in my planner, and I write my work schedule in my planner. I had to change my work schedule around. So originally I was supposed to work 5:30 to 5, and I hate that shift. I hate working mornings. So I switched with somebody who hates closing. So now I work 12 to 8 on Friday. But I had to switch my schedule for work on Saturday too, because I have a meeting for school at 9 a.m. and I'm scheduled at 9:30, and that's just not going to happen. So my manager was really understanding about that. Really, she just wants you to show up to work, and she just doesn't want the clinic to be short. So yeah, you could see I put what my homework is all together, and I kind of just put a dash and put IO or clinical so that I know which thing it is, because there's a million articles to read, and if I read 3 articles, then I don't know which program I'm actually talking about. So anyway, and you can see I also have my internship. I have 9 to 5. I had a focus group on Wednesday that I was helping with. And so that's another thing I'll be talking about in my vlog. My program for IO psychology doesn't have a built-in internship program. So you really have to depend on yourself for finding your own internships. And that's problematic for some people. So I'll give out some internship tips and all that stuff, and just all things graduate school, IO, clinical, mental health counseling type things throughout my vlog. So thanks for watching. And if you have a question or a comment or whatever, leave it below. Thanks.